Mehdi Pursaka and Michelle Silvers, Ultra Lounge, LLC, trading as Mirage, 4 on West Baltimore, Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, violation of Rule 3.02. Security personnel advised Liquor Board Inspector that he could not walk freely through the licensed premises, violation of Rule 4.07. Liquor Board Inspector observed full bottles of spirits from which patrons were allowed to pour their own drinks. Everybody testifying, please step forward and raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, for the record, Harry Maslin on behalf of the licensees. The licensees, fortunately, are not here. They're unavailable. I'm appearing in their behalf.
All right. And so neither licensee is here?
Thank you. No, neither one are here.
Okay. All right, addition or denial? All right, as to both?
As to
All?
both.
Okay. All right, we'll hear first regarding the November 4th incident, and that would be, we'll start with Inspector Umar Abdul Hamid.
For the record, Abdul Hamid, ABDUL -HAMID. First name Umar, UMAR, Inspector, Baltimore City Liquor Board, Baltimore City, Maryland. On 4 November 2012, I conducted a routine inspection of the routine investigation of the premises known as Mirage, located as 401 West Baltimore Street. I arrived on scene and entered the location at approximately 00:50 hours, 12:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Upon entering the establishment, I was immediately informed by security that I could not walk freely through and observe activity. I advised at this time that in fact my authority superseded establishment policy. I then instructed security personnel to contact the manager to make him aware of my presence. I then began observing patron activity. I observed patrons seated in a reserved area raised above the main dance floor. This area was being used as a VIP section. Patrons in this area were in possession of full bottles of spirits, including but not limited to 750 milliliter bottles of assorted spirits. Patrons were being allowed to pour their own drinks, irrespective of the amount in the receiving container. I observed as a patron pulled a full cup of spirits, gulped it down, and immediately refilled his cup to continue consumption. At this time, I returned to the main floor to find the manager. While waiting for the manager, I observed a patron attempting to exit the premises with an alcoholic beverage in hand. He was stopped by security personnel and advised that he could not exit with drink in hand. I observed that the patron appeared to be intoxicated, and at this time he made an off-color comment, which I could not fully hear. In response to the comment made, security personnel began to verbally respond and then proceeded to follow the patron outside of the establishment, even though the patron had complied with the order to relinquish the alcoholic beverage. Based on observations made at this location on 12 March 2012, reference 311 CR number 12-00164886, I was able to determine that this continued escalation by the security personnel is the type of activity I had previously advised against.
I don't object to anything that previously occurred, because this is, March would be prior to this license, I believe, even being renewed. So it's getting to an incident that's remote in time. It's remote in time from November. We're talking about a November incident, and they're throwing in facts and circumstances about a March incident.
We're going to overrule your objection if that is in fact the objection, because he's only testifying that he had warned them about some kind of similar activity in the past, and in fact in our non-cooperation charges, and that is what this is part of the facts to prove. We always hear testimony regarding prior communication with the licensee. For example, a case where somebody has illegal live entertainment, and they would be brought up for not having proper live entertainment permission, plus they'd be brought up for non-cooperation if the facts showed that an investigator had, or an inspector had previously requested on one or more occasions to cease his conduct. So we'll overrule your objection.
Well, the only point I make, the facts he's complaining of do not relate to that. It affects to the fact that a patron was being escorted out of the establishment, not related to any non-cooperation with the inspector.
Well, I mean, the charges themselves are non-cooperation and a 407, which is being served, licensee serving more than 2 ounces of liquor to one person at a time. So, you know, we're gonna deny your motion. I understand what your basis is, but as far as I know, this is a non-cooperation case, and we'll continue to hear it. So, however, we're not gonna get into details or accept reported evidence which is attached to our report regarding what happened on March 13th, 2012, but the inspector may testify to what, if anything, he said to anyone at that premises regarding a similar incident in the past.
I then met and advised the manager that allowing the patrons to pour their own drinks would result in a violation. He responded by stating that this is the practice that most clubs employ. I reiterated my earlier statements with additional explanation of the applicable laws and regulations. I advised the staff of the violation and exited the establishment.
All right, thank you. Before you begin cross-examination with Mr. Maslin, just a couple of questions based on your written report and your oral testimony here. Your written report dated November 9th, 2012. Are there any additions or corrections to that report?
Not at this time.
All right. Therein, you and the board is relying on this document and reviewing it now. You indicate, at least in your written report, that there was a man, a patron, attempting to exit the premises with an alcoholic beverage in his hand, and was stopped by security personnel and advised he couldn't exit. And you observed that he appeared to be intoxicated and made an off-color comment, which you couldn't hear. Then it says, in response to the comment made, the security personnel began to verbally respond, and then response to the comment made, it says, in response to the comment made, the security personnel began to verbally respond and then proceeded to follow the patron outside of the establishment. And I want to understand, and then this goes into what happened on March 12th. So could you give me another run-through on what happened there? The patron was intoxicated and said something that you couldn't hear to security personnel. Then what happened after that?
Security personnel began, in layman's terms, what happened was the patron was verbally abusive. In response to that, the security personnel became verbally abusive and then physically began trying to manhandle the guy. Even after the patron had relinquished the alcohol and agreed to leave, he made some kind of comment going out the door, yeah, well, you know, something to that effect. And then the security took it personal and immediately went behind this guy, like, hit him upside his head. I mean, that's the kind of characterization that the
All right, well, we'll
behavior.
sustain that, but yeah, you could continue with that.
And the reason I made mention to it is because back in March, when I was there before, and I'd said to them then, you know, this is a little bit of overkill. You guys need to bring it down a little bit, not to escalate it so much. And again, here we are in another situation where it's been escalated. And I just felt like it was to such a degree that I should mention it, because I did say something to them before about that type of behavior.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions, commissioners?
No.
The witness is with you.
When you went there, you had no trouble getting into the establishment, is that correct?
I did. In fact, the security personnel that greeted me at the door, even though I identified myself with the badge, his instructions is that he wanted me to wait at the door, and he would go get the manager for me, and I was to wait there while he retrieved the manager. Which time I said that it's not the purpose of my visit to speak to the manager. I'm here to observe activity, so I'm going to come in. At which time
You walked in?
I did, but
Okay.
he attempted to block me from. So that's.
Do you know this gentleman here?
Yes, sir.
I think his name
I
is
do.
Mr. Show, or known as Big Show. I don't know if it's his legal
That is
name,
correct.
but- And how do you know him?
I know Mr. Show from working at another establishment, Redwood Trust. Get the name of it.
Have you ever met him when you were at the Mirage?
Yes, yes,
And you've been there before at the Mirage?
that is correct.
When Mr. Show was there, and you know him to be the head of security there?
That is correct.
Has he always treated you respectfully?
Yes.
Granted you entrance at all times?
Yes,
So this individual that you approached in this occasion, did you see Mr. Show
I did not.
on that occasion?
I did
Was it
not.
Some other?
It was another individual,
No.
that's correct.
Did you have your cell phone camera out?
I did.
You did. And
Yeah.
were you taking pictures with that camera? And was that, was there an objection made to you by the security personnel about you taking pictures with?
Yes.
They did?
In fact, what I was attempting to do was secure evidence of the complaint that I filed about the alcoholic beverages and the patrons having free access to pour their own drinks. And I was attempting to take pictures of this guy as he picked up the entire bottle, poured a cup, gulped it, and poured another cup. In fact, the security personnel at that time physically touched me and blocked me from trying to take this picture, put his hand in front of the camera, and then told me to step back, that I was not allowed to do this at this time.
Did you see on the exterior of the premises and on the interior premises signs that are posted, no pictures allowed?
Can't say that I
You
did.
didn't
No,
see-
sir.
you didn't
No,
see
I
it.
did not.
And don't you believe it to be an invasion of someone's privacy if they're in a public establishment and have a stranger coming up taking their picture?
I cannot speak to that. I'm in the midst of doing my job, clearly identified with a badge hanging around my neck, so I can't speak to that, sir.
But you were in the premises, you were walking through the premises, and it was when you took out your cell phone that you were approached and asked to stop, is that correct?
I was followed as I entered the premises after I advised the gentleman that he could not bar me from entering the premises. What he did was assign one of the other security personnel to shadow me while he went and retrieved the manager.
Okay. So you were able to walk through the premises?
Not unfettered, but yes, I was able to walk through.
And when you took out your cell phone to take pictures, that's when there was an objection made?
That is correct.
And then you had a conversation with the manager,
I did.
and then you left the premises?
That is correct.
And the bottle that you observed, what kind of bottle was it?
Please can you explain that question a little
Well,
more?
what was it?
Type of liquor? Alcohol it was?
What was, you know?
It was some type of spirits. I want to say vodka, may have been Grey Goose or something like
Did
that.
you get close to the?
I was close enough to see what type of alcohol it was. I knew it was alcohol, and I knew it was some type of vodka, but I
Well, you
didn't
didn't.
see the
note-
brand.
You didn't note in your report that it was
I didn't
vodka.
think that was necessary at the time. The brand of vodka, I was able to see the size and that it was alcoholic spirits.
Could have been a bottle of wine, a bottle of champagne.
No, the bottle shape is very distinctive for spirits as opposed to alcohol, like wine or something.
Well, you're aware that bottles now come in all different shapes, sizes.
Probably more aware than you would know, sir. As a liquor board employee, I stay versed on the different types of alcoholic beverages that are available for consumption at liquor brew establishments.
So you didn't specifically write down and can't say with 100% surety, represent to the board under oath, what exactly type of alcohol or substance was being poured?
Yeah, I would say that barring some other illegal activities such as refilling, that what I observed was a patron who was in possession of an alcoholic beverage, spirits to be exact. And I will go on record to say that, yes, I'm sure it was vodka, because at the time I knew the brand when this event took place. I did not, unfortunately, make a notation of that in my records, but I'm pretty sure. The reason I know for a fact is because after this, I had to research what size bottle that was because I wasn't sure. So it took me a while to find out what the actual measurements on that size bottle was.
Now, you saw there, do you remember these two ladies there?
I couldn't say that I do.
But there were servers there, is that correct?
In the premises?
In the premises?
Yeah, I'm sure there were.
And it was the servers serve, the servers are assigned to tables to serve the patrons their alcoholic beverages.
Is that a question?
Yeah, are you aware of that?
No, I wasn't
You're
aware of that.
aware of that. All right, thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, any questions for Umar Abdul Hamid?
None.
All right, just briefly, did you happen to see any, although not denying that it occurred, did you happen to see any servers serving patrons from the bottles that were on the patrons' tables? Okay.
In the VIP areas that I observed, the patrons were left to their own devices. This was on, I only reported on one table, but there were about three
Well, that's, you mentioned in your report that there were various, or assorted spirits and assorted tables with different bottles. Okay. All right, nothing further. Thank you, Inspector, unless you have anything else.
No.
Okay.
Identify yourself,
Anthony Ford, I'm the head of security for Mirage Nightclub.
and, sorry, Mr. Ford, but I refer to you as Show, or Mr. Show. Is that your nickname?
Yes, sir.
And what is the company that you work for?
Yes, sir. Ford Security.
Ford Security. And what type of company is Ford Security?
Ford Security is a security company that provides services, security for different venues and establishments.
And do you provide security in that capacity for the Mirage nightclub?
Yes, I did.
And were you present on November the 4th?
Yes, I was.
And do you recall an encounter with the liquor inspector?
No, I know Mr. Omar very well. In previous events, I've escorted him. We shake hands every time he comes, as well as the other liquor board inspectors. I know him by name. All my staff members are aware that if a liquor board person comes in, you are to escort them. We've never had a problem in the past escorting any liquor board person or representative from that agency.
So you've instructed to escort them through the establishment?
Yes, sir.
And on this particular occasion, do you know which one of your personnel was with Mr. Umar?
No, he just identified either I was downstairs in the basement or somewhere else or in the back because I don't recall seeing Mr. Omar at particular.
And on this particular occasion, do you have any policy with regard to photography in the establishment?
Absolutely. We have a sign posted when you first come in the door and to the right sides. It says no photography, any type of camera of that nature. My staff is instructed that anybody who's taking type of photograph, they'll be restricted to taking the inside of the facility because a lot of times it's used for negative purposes. We have celebrities such as ravens and people who come up who do not like to be photographed, particularly when they're drinking. So therefore, my security staff is aware, and we politely, in a professional way, we do apologize, but photographs are prohibited from being taken into the establishment.
Well, there's, in addition to sports celebrities, there's other politicians, other people.
Oh, absolutely.
In Baltimore, there's
Senators, a lot of people that come through.
the mayor's been there.
The mayor's been there.
Governor's been there.
Lieutenant governor, lieutenant governor.
It's been the scene of some political fundraisers as well.
Yes, president of the city council has been there.
And you've always
Is there
treated.
anybody in City Hall you haven't mentioned yet? I want to get a shout out here.
Let's see.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ford. Anything
And
else?
you've always
Next question.
treated the inspectors with respect.
Oh, I know him personally. Some of them have my personal phone number. And I always, over the years, over 20 years to 17 years, I've had personal experience with all of them, particularly Mr. Omar. And so whenever he comes in, we shake hands. Well, what can I help you with? I escort him in.
And now, the policy with respect to the bottles that are on the table, are you familiar with that policy?
Yes, sir.
And what is that policy?
Standard procedures are when someone buys a bottle or some type of drink or bottles in the ice bucket, you have a server. A server is assigned because they're buying a bottle, and I think that they get some proceeds from that particular bottle. So they're assigned to assist the customer in pouring their particular drink.
In addition to the bottle that's on the table, there's ice provided?
Ice juice, orange juice, Red Bull, and let's see, what else? A couple other things.
Other juices?
Juices,
Assorted
yes.
juices? And then the customers, are they instructed that the servers are there to pour the alcohol for them?
Yes, before the night, before they even come out, they usually bring drinks with some type of fire thing, that's attached to the bottle, and they say, no, let me pour it. Because the first instant is for people to grab, and then the server says, no, they pour the drink themselves. That's the purpose of them.
That's the policy of the club and how
Yes,
things
sir.
are. I don't know if the board has any.
Now, maybe I have a question for the server.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
A question. You started your statement by saying that the servers assist in pouring. And if do they stay there 100% of the time that bottle is on the table, or do they leave to go and serve other tables? And if so, what happens when they're not there? If you have the if you put the liquor on the table, who have the responsibility to make sure that the liquor is reported by the patron?
Security is there, and the server is there to serve that particular table. And so they're there, and their tips is based on service. And so they go beyond trying to assist the particular patron in pouring the bottle or whatever the spirit that you say may be. Yes, so to answer your question, it is the server's responsibility, and my security staff, we there to monitor and make sure that the rules are followed.
How many tables do you have like that?
Oh, I couldn't really say. We have a couple, we have 3 tables offhand, maybe about 10.
So you got 10 security person watching each one of those tables?
Yes, we have security staff.
How many staff people do you have per night? on that?
Security?
Yes.
It depends on the night. Like Fridays and Sundays, I'll have,
Let's do one of your weekend nights when we got the big crowds.
Fridays, I would say maximum security is 10 in myself.
10 of yourselves.
Yes, sir.
All 10 of your security folks are watching tables, and you're down in the basement somewhere where you can't.
No, I'm not down in the basement. Something may cause for me to move away or needs my attention. Like you may have something going in the bathroom, so I may address an issue in the bathroom myself. But we have security strategically spaced in specific areas that covers, that they can see the various tables and entrances and things of that nature.
What contact system do you have when you're not there, and if someone, such as an inspector, come on the premises, how do they contact you? How fast
My
is it?
supervisor-
How quick can you get there?
I'm usually there on big nights. I never miss a Sunday. I never miss a Friday. Those are our big nights. Unless I'm on vacation, which is like in the summer.
Now I'm talking about the night that the inspector showed up.
Well, I probably was in the building. I was there on
So
Sunday.
if you're there, if an inspector come on the premises to make an inspection, and one of your security folks wanted.
Radio and the phone call. That's it.
So how long does it take you to get there if they call you?
If I'm in the building, I'm a matter of seconds.
Are they instructed to call you when something like this happens?
Normally my supervisor alerts me whenever the inspector comes in.
So what's the, one last one, sorry.
It's okay.
The protocol.
Yes, sir.
You know what the inspector protocol is, what they do when they come into a
Oh,
premises?
absolutely.
Do you know sometimes they have to take pictures? Do you know sometimes they have to do other things to document any violation? So, and sometimes part of that documentation might include taking the picture regardless of who the celebrity is at that location.
Yes, but at Mirage, since I've been there, I've never had an inspector come in and take pictures, so.
But that doesn't mean that they don't have the need to. But
Right.
do you understand that
Yes, sir.
sometimes they may have the need to take a picture, which has nothing to do with any other regs that you may have stated in
Yes.
reference to pictures and so forth?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ford,
Yes, sir.
I don't even go to nightclubs, but I certainly recognize you. Us having been on the board for a few years. You have worked at, your company works at which clubs?
Various clubs. Do I have to name all the clubs?
Well, no, but more than a few?
I'd rather not.
Okay, more than a few?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not, it's no relevancy for that.
I
But
understand.
several in the city, a lot of them in the city, let's do it.
Right, all right. So we do recognize you, and you seem to be a very professional guy. But let me ask you this. What is your premium vodka? What's your best vodka?
That's not my expertise.
Well, no, but come on.
I do
Kettle
security.
One, Grey Goose.
I can't answer that. Those persons,
right, let me ask you
those
this
people are expert.
Do you
I
know-
do security.
do you-
I own a security company.
Do you have any idea what a bottle of vodka costs at the club?
Not really.
Okay, well, I'll wait and see you call the secretary to say that too. All right, thank you, Mr. Ford.
State your name, please.
Dennis Campbell.
And Mr. Campbell, are you the manager of the Mirage nightclub?
Yes, I am.
How do you spell your name, sir?
Canpollat.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Campbell.
Were you present on November the 4th?
Yes, I was.
And you were the person the inspector identified as you spoke with that evening, is that correct?
That is correct.
And first, could you tell the board about your policy with respect to the bottles that are on the table? What is to happen when the bottle is placed on the table? What does the customer advise?
Okay. When my servers are assigned a section, each of them, and when patrons arrive at the table, they're greeted by the waitress, who then takes their order, and they will be responsible for any financial with the table. and they're responsible for the delivery, and they come and they explain that they will be pouring the drinks for them if they need anything. So they come to refill their juices, excuse me, juices and sodas, ice, fresh glasses, and that's how they make their money. They don't make their money any other way but then to take care of those tables in their section. Now, each server has about 5 tables, and the way it's set up in a linear fashion, so the server can walk the line and, you know, ask people how they're doing, how's everything doing, you guys need anything? And they see low glasses, they'll come and they'll fill the drinks for the patron. Now, they tell the patrons they're not to pour the drinks, that they'll be doing them for them as to make more tips, and that's our policy. So they state that, and they're the ones that are responsible for the liquor at the table.
To your knowledge, was the liquor inspector prevented free access through the club?
No, I was not aware of that at the time. He did make it known to me that he was, that he had the authority to be in there, and that my security attempted to prevent him from entering. And I advised, or I, not advised him, but I informed him that I was told he was in there taking pictures, and as we went over before, that there was certain security that was not aware of who he was, and they were merely protecting the club and our image.
So you had instructed the security that any individual is not permitted to take photographs of any other patron in the club, is that correct?
Yes, I mean, well, it just creates like an uncomfortable situation if we have some guests and they don't know who is taking a photograph of them, because we have birthday parties there and they notice this person not part of their group is taking multiple pictures of them. It makes them feel uncomfortable, and it could possibly affect our business.
Now, you have present with you here today the 2 servers that were working that evening, is that correct?
That is correct.
Board have any questions for
I have a question, Mr. Kemplin. Has anyone since educate your workers to the fact that an inspector do have the right to take pictures when he makes an inspection of your premises?
No, he made that, he informed me of that, but I was not aware of that. It's like,
But did anyone since that time either try to verify by calling the office to see whether or not he has that authority? And if so, did you educate your staff so they don't have the same situation again?
I did, because I was informed to do that by him, and I pulled up my servers and my security and said, you know, we're not to bar them from entering, and or as I was informed, impede their investigations.
All right, so you understand now that whether it's a police officer, liquor board inspector, a health department agent, a building engineer, building inspector, or even the grand jury comes out, that they're allowed to take pictures, right?
I do.
Okay. All right, I have one question. You are the manager. What are you selling a bottle of Kettle One for?
That goes for $250.
Okay.
Before taxes
So
and gratuity.
before tax and gratuity.
That's
Right.
correct.
All right, so you've testified that your staff, your servers in the VIP area, that their only source of compensation is tips and is gratuities.
That's correct.
All right. And you're telling me a bottle of Kettle One costs $250,
That's correct.
meaning that she could expect a $50, 20% $50 tip on that bottle.
Yes, or more.
And you're telling me that NFL football players, professional athletes are sometimes clientele upstairs in the VIP area, right?
Yes, and we have.
All right, so you know what, this is a setup, but how do you expect these young ladies who are living off the tips that the patrons provide, how do you expect them to adequately police whether or not someone pours a sip out of the bottle that they paid for with their own money? And how do you put it on them?
Well, that's why I have them, experienced servers, know proper service, not where they're pushy on the guests. They're actually, you know, they're making good conversation with them, and almost like they're part of the party. So it's like they're floating from one table to the other. That's their only job. They only have 5 tables apiece, and the gratuity is standard, but what they're trying to do is make extra. They
Right.
can make up to $400 for a tip, as I've seen,
Right.
or more.
But don't you think it could hurt on the tip if I have to act like the the house mother and say, no, 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 I'll pour that for you, or I have to keep an eye on that bottle, and if anybody even touches it, you know, I gotta run over and tell them, no, 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 I have to do that, I have to do that.
Well, that's what you get when you go to a restaurant too. Your drinks are refilled.
Right.
You don't get up and go to the station yourself. As much as you would like to or have to wait for your server, sometimes that's the policy there as well. They're the ones that serve the liquor.
All right, thank you very much.
But it's not sitting on the table. Remember that part. At a restaurant, it might, if you got a bottle, when that bottle goes, it's gone. But if you at your club and you got that bottle on the table, and the server walked away, I can reach it, pour it, and drink it. That's the control. I mean, let's just stop.
Is
She can come back and say, don't do it, but it's done.
Oh, you can say that a lot of things in this world, sir.
We're talking about your establishment, sir.
Well, as I say, they inform the guests that they're there to do that, and they're not to pour the liquor in. That's their job.
That makes it okay if they pour it.
Okay.
I did not say that.
All right, any other witnesses?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hi, what's your name?
Miss Heidi Clash,
How do you spell that?
MATALIN,
All right, Ms. Clash?
Ms. Clash, are you a server
Yeah.
waitress at the Mirage nightclub?
approximately.
And were you working on the number before?
Yes.
And can you tell the board briefly what the policy is regarding the bottles of alcohol that are placed at the tables when a patron orders a bottle?
Well, basically, it's a table, and it's usually about 4 people at the table, 4 to 5 people, and they'll order their drink. We'll take the money, and we introduce our name as well as we're here to help them with anything. And then we'll also tell them that we're here to pour the bottle. We'll do drinks for them and ask them what side drinks they want, whether it be waters, Red Bull, and they also get a complimentary pineapple, orange, or whichever juice they like. And if they want like a water inside of glass, they can get that as well. And we put in the order, and we light it up for them, bring it out, that's what they like. And I know customers usually like when we pour the drink for them. It's kind of like interacting, and we're partying with them, and they enjoy it. And usually, for me personally, we only put in maybe 2 ounces or less, and we mix the juice in with it, and I hand it to them, and that's when like they'll have their first drink. I may say, okay, you need a glass, or anything, or extra glasses, and then I might check another table. But we keep our eye on the tables, and we don't walk away without people having empty drinks or anything like that. So it's always like a moving situation, so.
So you instruct the customer that you're there to pour the drinks, that they're not to pour the drinks?
Yeah.
Board have a question?
How do you deal with a customer who pours who might pour their drink before you can get back to the table? How do you deal with that customer?
Well,
Or have you ever had anyone to do that?
I've seen someone maybe try to put the drink, grab the drink, or the bottle, but I usually say, just give it to me, I got it for you, or I can handle it, I'll take the drink for you. And they're usually like, cool, it's fine. They like the service, and the more service we get, the more tips we get. So I know me and the rest of the girls I work with try to do as much service as possible, because like he said, we can get pretty good tips, whether it's a Ravens player, or just a regular person. They like when you pour the drinks, they like us girls even around the table, just to show them that, it's, here you go, serving them. Whether it's girls or guys, they like the whole party situation for us to help them, so.
For the sake of time, you keep mentioning the Ravens players. Have any of the Ravens players been down this week? I need to know that.
Tell us who the worst tippers
Don't
are.
tell me.
That's- yeah.
I'll take that question back.
Not Ray Rice.
Commissioner Smith has a question.
I have a few questions. Have you went to bartending school?
No.
Has anyone in the establishment told you or helped you with the rules and regulations of how to pour according to the liquor board rules?
Yes, we do have bartenders who she actually showed us on in exactly how much it is the appropriate amount to show to put in the cup. So I was explaining how to do that.
Okay. And how long does it, how many people are normally, no, scratch that. You have 5 tables or 5 areas that you're responsible for
Yes.
by yourself?
No, I have it's 5 tables. So it's the tables are in an area. So say that all the tables will be right here. So I can look and see everything that's going on at the table, and I can walk and talk to each person as they go through the night.
So on average, how many people are at each table? It's your most crowded night. Ray Rice, Ray Lewis, Jamal Lewis, everybody's there. It's a homecoming. Everyone's there.
Jamal isn't there.
It's a homecoming.
I would say
Thank you.
it may like be 6 to 10 people
Per table?
per table. I mean,
So maybe a maximum of 50 people, correct? And it's potentially to be 50 people in your area, correct?
I know that most of the time when I come, honestly, if I come and bring a bottle, that I can pour all the drinks for everybody at the table, and the bottle's gone, and I'll take the bottle.
Right, I understand that, but at your most busy night, your area, 5 tables, a maximum of 10 people per table for a maximum of 50 people in your area.
I don't know about 10, maybe 5.
Okay.
5 to 6 people.
Oh, okay, so a maximum of maybe 30 people.
Yeah.
Okay, and is it your testimony that you're able to watch all 30 people throughout the entire night and determine whether they actually pour for themselves or pour for someone else every single minute of your time that you're there?
Yes. I haven't had a problem. Usually the only person who touches the bottle is the person who pays for it.
Okay, does it get crowded up there? Do they sit in a row or do they get up and move around?
They stand up, but it's like something where as though you can. We actually have a system with the other girls that like sometimes some sections aren't used at all, and we help each other because though they try to put the sections all together with the people. So, but it's never really that much of a problem for me, honestly, to see who or what is where.
So your vision is never you want me to believe that your vision is never blocked by anybody. Person standing up, dancing, moving around in the VIP section, that they are all seated accordingly, side by side throughout that area.
They stand up, but we're vocal and we can say, excuse me.
So is it fair to say that maybe it is a possibility that your vision could be blocked, that you wouldn't be able to watch every interaction?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever had any issues. I haven't seen anybody in my section do anything.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clash.
You're welcome.
The other server's testimony would be cumulative,
We
so.
recognize her too. Has she worked at Ultra Lounge for a while? We see the same faces year after year at the lift floor. Nice to see you again.
Very attractive.
All right. In any event, is there any other testimony?
No, that would be our
Closing argument?
presentation, yes. The first charge of failing to cooperate, there's no question that the liquor inspector has a long-standing relationship with the head of security. They know each other on a first-name basis. There was never a problem. The real problem comes in here because of the staff being advised that there's no pictures to be taken. He entered the premises when he had his cell phone camera out. That's when the interaction between the security personnel who's instructed not to allow anyone to take pictures interacts with the representative of the liquor board. That now is clear to them that they are allowed to have them take photographs. They were not aware. And because of the nature of the clientele and because of the adverse impact, they're just trying to protect their personnel. They weren't fully aware of what his intention was or what he was actually doing. It was not his intention to impede him. Indeed, he was able to move freely throughout the club. It wasn't a situation where he was denied entrance, denied access to any part of the club, and I would submit there hasn't been a proof of a preponderance of evidence that his ability to fully inspect, wasn't enough evidence to establish that particular charge. With respect to the other charge, pouring more than 2 ounces, the regulation of the board does allow the pouring of any substance such as wine or champagne in excess of 2 ounces. The inspector cannot say, he says it was vodka, he can't define it, he admits that alcohol comes in all shapes, sizes, different bottles, but he can't say what type of substance it was. And since the regulation does allow for the pouring of more than 2 ounces of wine or champagne, and because he can't articulate, I'd submit that there's not sufficient evidence for that. Also, I'd submit that that charge should not be sustained because it is not the policy of the club to permit the patrons to pour their own alcohol. The server that's here is a trained server, as all servers are trained, and they know that they're not, she testified that she knows she's only to pour up to 2 ounces of alcohol. She's there to provide the service. If you're paying the kind of money that they're charging, one would expect to have that kind of service and not have to reach out and pick up a bottle and pour it yourself. To me, that would be repugnant and offensive. And they have these servers that are doting on these tables to try and as she wants to interact as much as possible with the patrons. They're there at the drop of a hat. If they see the glass is half empty or they need additional beverages poured, they want to be there. They want to be attentive. They are basically there to provide the service that is expected by these individuals that come to this establishment. The security personnel are also there. They're aware of the situation. The security personnel, when anyone is out of control, they react. They don't want unruly patrons in there, and they'll move to escort anyone who is unruly out of the establishment. This is a fine establishment. It has not been before the board with any sort of, maybe one time, I think, in the past, a very, some time ago. But it doesn't
$100
have-
fine on
yes,
June 7th
Yes, it
of
was
last
not
year.
they're not a troublemaker establishment. It's a very fine establishment patronized by people who enjoy having a good time and expect quality service. Not many establishments have over 11 security personnel there to ensure the public safety. So I would ask the board to find in my client's favor still, both charges.
All right, thank you very much. Anything else?
No.
We will go off the record.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go back on the record. We're in the decision phase, January 17th, 2013. Mehdi Porsaka and Michelle Silvers, Ultra Lounge LLC, trading as Mirage, 401 West Baltimore. A couple of charges here. We'll start. We'll just take it from the back. The one that we had the least discussion about involved the 4.07 charge. As the board, and probably spent more time questioning that chain of events than the other chain of events that we discussed for November 4th, 2012. We have a report from an inspector. We believe the inspector's version of events. We believe the inspector knows what a bottle of spirits looks like, beyond a bottle of champagne, a bottle of wine, a bottle of any other kind of lower alcohol, lower alcoholic beverage bottle. And he clearly indicated that he saw a patron pour a full cup of spirits, gulp it down, and immediately refill his cup. So it's clear to us that more than 2 ounces at the same time were consumed by the customer. Now we get into the liability part of the statute. No licensee shall serve. And of course, the licensee himself didn't serve the customer, and it could be argued that even his agent didn't, his server didn't serve that alcohol. But, as we said earlier, in cross-examination, several legal terms come to mind. Willful blindness. We put a big bottle out front there and don't touch it. Okay, I won't. Attractive nuisance is another legal term that comes to mind. We put something that somebody has paid money for and wants to consume, but don't touch it. I have to get it for you. Even strict liability comes to mind, because when you are putting a bottle out like that and a customer's paid for it, even if a customer's been told, I need to serve you, and even if he wants the social interaction of wanting you to serve him, at some point, or her, at some point, the person could pour themselves, could think reasonably that they could pour themselves a drink since they are paying for the bottle. So it adds up to a situation where unfortunately customers are not expected to know the law. The licensees are expected to know the law. And in that regard, we do believe that by leaving the bottle there, that when a patron pours a drink for himself, that it is a technical violation of 4.07, and we do feel that the preponderance of the evidence was easily met in this charge, and we do find you guilty. It is a $250 fine. That's the price of a bottle of Kettle One. Moving on to the 3.02 charge. Board did have a vibrant discussion on the activities that occurred with respect to Inspector Umar Abdul Hamid being denied or detained or hindered from entering the establishment on or about November 9th, 2012. Mr. Abdul Hamid has been through a few non-cooperation cases, quite frankly. He's been manhandled. He's had a tough time getting into some places in this town, and you know, we do believe his version of events, that he did arrive on scene, that he was hindered to walk through, that eventually, and not in a very long amount of time, he was able to walk through. He was slightly harassed, for lack of a better term, about the fact that he, was taking photos. It is non-cooperation, despite the fact that, Mr. Ford knows an inspector on a first-name basis, and it probably would have behooved everyone if, in the future, Mr. Ford would be able, for whatever reason, to be down on the floor to greet the inspector, rather than him having to go through some well-meaning subordinates whose job, in fact, is to provide security, to keep people out of the club and keep problems out of the club. They're not all as well versed as you are, obviously, Mr. Ford, and that therein lies the problem. Is that's how it is. Look, as far as the idea that the security was tough on a customer that was about to leave the premises with an alcoholic beverage, and he had warned them before about that. We prefer the security be strong rather than a pushover, and so we don't fault you on that. But we do believe that there was a non-cooperation, that non-cooperation was exhibited by the licensee when the inspector was briefly detained or hindered from entering the premises. So we find you guilty of that. We have mentioned before, inspectors only have their badges. They don't have a gun, they don't have backup in most cases. And so any attempt to detain or simply to prevent our inspectors from entering an establishment is the most serious charge that comes before this board. And we revoked a license last year over non-cooperation. The board wants to send a strong message based on non-cooperation charges. We do, and the board has determined that penalty will be a suspension of your license for 1 weekend. That weekend will be January 16th and 17th, is it?
No, February.
February 16th, beginning at 6 a.m., meaning that you can be open February 15th until regular hours. February 16, 2013, from 6 a.m. until February 18 at 6 a.m. So you'd be free to reopen on the Monday, that's a Saturday, and a Sunday. So you'll be suspended for the license day of February 16th and 17th, 2013. We will stay any suspension if an administrative or a judicial review petition is filed.
All right,
Thank you very much. We're off the record. And we are adjourned till next week.